fans need to shut up about that goalie interference call. I don't know, man. Really? Yeah, really. I mean, you don't think they have a bit of a point? He was kind of pushed into the blue paint. Oh, they have a point, but the call went in favor of my team, so screw them. Go Leafs. Whose side are you on, Steven? Hi! Leafs Nation, stand witness for Austin Lucas! Full biblical! Austin Matthews is the Leaf! Why do I watch hockey? Stressfully, mostly. Victory puppies! Oh my goodness, guys, I missed you! I missed you so much! Oh, the Plekanec puppies! The first ever Plekanec puppy! Okay, guys, real quick. What's goalie interference? Tell me. I know. It's tough. You can't go in the blue paint, but he was kind of pushed there. Well, that's a really good point, Charlie. Let me stretch first. I'm out of practice. Leafs win! 5-2 over the Pittsburgh Penguins. I would argue for heart health purposes, it should have been 1-4-0. And Penguins fans, I'm sure, would argue it should have been 3-3 heading into overtime. There's all kinds of ways this game was wacky. Let's talk about it. Before the game, Nikita Zaitsev is out with the flu. Connor Carrick draws back into the lineup. Josh Levo is also back in the lineup after a decent outing from Martin. And approximately nobody is talking about that because there's a bunch of Olympians in the stand. The obvious ones were Tessa Virtue and Scott Moyer. And how do they even go out in public? Like, it's a Saturday night. It's a Leafs game. People are drunk. I can only imagine when people are yelling at them. Ladies and gentlemen, Canadian gold medalists Tessa Virtue and Scott Moyer. Just kiss already! Just every single whistle, the Leafs go to the kiss cam. And instead of transitioning from couple to couple, it just stays on them and just gets closer throughout the game. But that wasn't even my favorite highlight involving an Olympian in the stands in this game. Penny Alexiak is in the stand. She's a Canadian gold medalist. Her brother Jamie plays on the Penguins on defense. And they have the camera on her, and there's like a bag of M&Ms on her lap, and she's got a friend sitting beside her. And her friend just reaches over, you know, tries to get some M&Ms. And Penny's just like, get your own damn M&Ms. Hey, you know, it's probably pretty scary. Getting between an Olympic athlete who needs to eat like 14,000 calories a day and their M&Ms. It also just shows that she's just a better human being than I am. Because I'm just watching like, oh man, it's so great that she can just eat M&Ms. She's a world-class athlete to try to be the very best. Whereas I just be in it for the candy. Which is why when I was a kid, I was like, I want to be an Olympian. And the universe is like, try YouTube. They didn't want to waste it. Wise decision, universe. So yeah, there was a game. And the Penguins start murdering the Leafs first shift right out of the gate. Just watching like the first two shifts and going, this is going to be a long night. But what have I said before, boys and girls? Hockey doesn't care about your feelings. Josh Levo, who exists, has the puck, goes behind the net, behind the back pass to Bozak. Bozak in front to a wide open Kapanen. Bang! Kapanen gets his 5th goal of the season. The Leafs get a 1-0 lead, and also they win the trade. Dude, we have back-to-back cup. Kapanen scored a couple times. And while everyone's focusing on Kapanen scoring against the Penguins again, I'm like, oh, Josh Levo got an assist. That was only a secondary assist, but it was a nice one. And Kapanen had a huge celly, but Levo looked happier than he did. Levo gets his first point of 2018 in just his 3rd game of 2018. His last point coming December 29th against Colorado. He's actually got 2 points over his last 5 games. It just stretches over the course of like 3 months. I know we focus way too much on this player, but how can you not cheer for him? Now, final minute of the first, the Penguins have been out shooting the Leafs to holy hell, but Freddie Anderson has been holding the fort, still 1-0. Travis Dermott dukes through the neutral zone, throws it into the corner, and Kadri's just in there like, ah! Komarov is able to get the puck that Kadri dug out of the corner in the first place, throws it to the point to Morgan Riley. Riley throws the puck intentionally wide, Kadri tips it, 2-0 lead. Kadri's 25th. First and foremost, I want to make this a question of the game. Are Hockey Night in Canada games just more fun? I think they are. Maybe it's just the fanfare of it, but it just feels like more happens in those games. And it's Sidney Crosby coming to town, Hockey Night, Austin Matthews is out of the lineup, Kadri's got to have a huge game. And Kadri tends to thrive in those times where Babcock's like, alright, you gotta do one thing. Alright, be a good player, let's go. And of course, one of the guys in the corner with Kadri on that play, Sidney Crosby. And Kadri had to like extra be on his game because Babcock allowed Nylander to play center against maybe the craziest center team in the league. Alright, you want Crosby or Malkin tonight? How about bed? Is curling up in bed an option? Leafs head into first intermission up 2-0. Second period, here's the beginning of a theme that's going to annoy Penguins fans. Leafs have the power play. Oh, that's nice. In the first period, it seemed like the Leafs couldn't buy a call, even on stuff like offsides and icing. Here's a whole power play. You ready? Leafs lose the face-off. Chris Letang rings it around the boards. Riley stops it at the point, gives it to Marner. Marner shoots. Stopped by Jari. Kadri rebound, scores. 9 seconds. That's all it took for the Leafs' first power play unit, which doesn't have Matthews on it and never has, to score a goal. It's crazy. I need Penguins fans, I need fans of all other teams to understand that Matthews and Nylander are not on the Leafs' top power play. Basically all year, it's been Riley is the only defenseman with Bozak, JVR, Kadri, and Marner. And all they do is score, and sometimes it only takes 9 seconds. So, dying minutes of the second, Malkin hits Nylander into the boards. In one of those hits where, because of the camera angle, Nylander just disappears, and I'm just like, ah! Willie, please get up! What did you do to Willie? And it's one of those instances where 99% of the time I'm like, yeah, I don't know, I think fighting's kind of going away in this game, And then this happens, and I'm like, get him, Roman! Beat him with your rock fist! Nylander is okay. Polak goes to the box, but Malkin does too. Pretty good trade, Roman. 4-on-4 hockey. During that 4-on-4, Gensel gives it to Dumoulin, who goes for a walk. Dumoulin drives hard to the corner and then cuts to the front of the net. Drags it, slides it right by Freddie. Holy highlight reel goal. The Penguins are on the board. And all I see is they go to the camera in the corner where Dumoulin is, and he goes, "What?" Which I thought he was just like crazy hype. Because like I thought that was a sick goal. I thought he was going, "What? We're coming back. What?" Then they go to center ice. There is no goal on the play. Oh, what? And the Penguins get 2 minutes for goaltender interference. What? Alright, let's take a look at this. So let's just blend this into the Penguins if I were you segment. Obviously, on first viewing of the goal, I thought it was a goal. And they show the replay from the corner, and Dumoulin definitely makes contact with Freddie's head, and that's scary, first of all. Leaf fans get horrified because we're used to seeing Freddie, and before him, James Reimer, get beamed in the head. Pittsburgh doesn't have Matt Murray right now, so I'm sure they can sympathize. We were scared for our goalie. Now, here's where it gets blurry. That struck me as a play where if the call on the ice was good goal, Babcock could have reviewed it, and they might have had a case. I mean, after all, he was in the blue paint and did make contact with Freddie. But to say they can't even review it because of the penalty is nuts! And it's this weird gray area because you can assign a penalty for goaltender interference, but there are countless times throughout the season where you can have a goal called back for goaltender interference. It's literally called the same thing, and there's no penalty. The penalty is, I suppose, you don't get a goal? Now, Penguins fans, I don't know what feed of the game you watched. I assume it wasn't Hockey Night in Canada, but the panel was talking about how that goal should have counted. And when I was tweeting about it, I'm like, yeah, I think it should have counted. There was at least one very vehement argument that I saw against it, and I'll post it from sweet boy Justin Fisher. That's 100% the right call, and I'm 100% surprised the refs actually called it. Okay, come on, that's pretty funny. How can anyone watch this and think Hainsey moved Dumoulin even an inch? Dumoulin's skates barely move. He committed and went right through the crease. That's on him, not Hainsey. At the absolute most, all Hainsey did was keep Dumoulin on his path, and Hainsey is certainly allowed to do that. It's his ice. Dumoulin has the puck. It's on Dumoulin to peel off behind the net or stop. And I noticed this just under it. This is very delightfully Justin. He got pushed into Anderson. That's the only contact. Well, no, that's wrong. He's such a jerk. So this is my problem with goaltender interference calls. The calls have been so all over the place this season that when a right call happens, are we even gonna know it when we see it? Because honestly, rules are rules. They're supposed to be hard and fast. As long as there's consistency, I think most people will be happy. And all I could think was, man, this really reminds me of Connor McDavid's no goal against Calgary, where he barely even clipped the guy. The call on the ice for that was no goal as well. So it's consistent in that regard, but it also wasn't a penalty, I don't think. Now, some of the chatter of that no goal call probably goes away if the Leafs don't score on the ensuing power play. Just as the Leafs 4-on-3 power play turns into a 5-on-4, Marner puts it on, double deflection off some Pittsburgh legs in front, and it's a 4-0 Leafs lead. Now, people talk about that goal call being the difference in the game. I mean, it could have been 3-1 Leafs instead of 4-0. That's pretty significant. It's a 2-goal swing, as Mike Sullivan put it after the game. Freddie Anderson stole the show. The Penguins outshot the Leafs 40-26 in this one. But honestly, I think the biggest difference in this game, special teams. Penguins had 3 power play opportunities. Leafs only had 2. The Penguins went 0 for 3 on the power play. The Penguins' top power play unit of Malkin, Hornquist, Crosby, Kessel, and Letang, which shouldn't even be allowed, all played about 4 minutes on the power play each. Schultz played 2 minutes. Mata played about 2 minutes. Brassard, Sherry, and Gensel all played about 2 minutes. Leafs went 2 for 2 on the power play. How long do you think they were on the power play for? Riley, Bozak, JVR, Marner all tied with 37 seconds of time on the power play. Roman Polak had 3 seconds of power play ice time. Kadri, who had a power play goal, played 10. The Leafs penalty kill was efficient, and the Leafs power play was lethal. Tristan Jarry, who ended up getting pulled after this, only stopped 1 out of the 3 shots he faced while on the penalty kill. Freddie, meanwhile, who had literally exponentially more time on the penalty kill, only faced the same amount of shots, 3, stopped all of them. And good on Freddie for stopping all 3, but the Leafs limited the Penguins power play to 3 shots. Jeez, where the hell was that defense 5-on-5? You can blame it on a call from a ref, fine. You can blame it on a hot goalie, fine. But I think the biggest difference in this one was the Leafs special teams outperformed Pittsburgh's. We get to the final 5 minutes of the game. Leafs still up 4-0. And there's less than 5 minutes to go, and I'm just like, I hate that I don't feel safe right now. And Kadri is on Crosby like hot sauce on chicken wings. Crosby with just this weak little backhander that ends up going off Hainsey and in because it's Crosby. Penguins are on the board, still down 3, and I'm like, about a minute later, Malkin puts it on, Hornquist tips it in. And yeah, the Penguins are coming on fast and strong, and you go, oh my goodness, it's the Pittsburgh Penguins. If anyone can do it, it's them. It was a case of the Leafs defeating themselves. Oh, because they're a young team. No, it's Patrick Marleau. Patrick freaking Marleau had the puck. He could have cleared it. Puts it right on a Penguin stick, and a few seconds later, it's in the net. Which is why it was kind of nice, with about a minute left, Marleau just Put it in. I saw some people groaning that Marleau didn't find Kadri for the hat trick. Yeah, how about you don't risk turning over the puck to the Penguins with about a minute left, okay? Thanks. Marleau, after making the wrong decision on the 4-2 goal, makes the absolute right one to just shoot it at the empty net. Kadri has scored hat tricks before. He scored a hat trick at home earlier this season. I was there. It was wonderful. Everyone threw their hat. He will score a hat trick again. Just finish this one, okay? And the Leafs do, and that's that 5-2. I knew they had it the whole time, didn't I? It all goes full circle. It's like the Penguins were Penny Alexiak's friend trying to steal the M&Ms. Give me my damn 2 points. Questions. When is that offensive upside you think Roman Polak has going to kick in? Okay, I think this is in reference to something I said a while back, which I'll just say right now. Categorically wrong. I think it was last year or a couple years ago I said Roman Polak has offensive upside. Just not true. He doesn't. What I should have said was the very specific thing I wanted to talk about, but I didn't. I just said he had offensive upside. I think he had a good floater. Like he knew how to put the puck on net so that it was tippable. And that one specific thing, which has led to a few goals this season, I thought was underrated. Roman Polak is not underrated offensively. But I did find something crazy today. Duncan Keith has something like about 30 points this season. You know how many of them are primary points, as in a goal or a first assist? 7. Which ought to be super concerning for Blackhawks fans because Roman Polak, who has played like 20 fewer games, has 6. But yeah, just goes to show, don't say wrong things on the internet because people remember forever. When the Leafs win the cup, who will Polak pass it to first? Why are all the questions about Polak? I think he should just be a troll and pass it to Babcock first. Him or Connor Carrick. Both would be really funny. But the correct answer is his countryman, Thomas Plekanec. Which, oh my god, you would never have to salt the roads in Montreal ever again. How are the victory puppies? They're good. Charlie had a little thing with his ear and we got it cleaned up and it's actually cleared up and they're wonderful. Thank you for asking. Can the people who think Plekanec was the reason for our losing streak please calm down now? He was 70% on faceoffs last night and Babs had him out there shutting down Crosby with under 2 minutes to go. How do you not see his upside? I sort of said this in my last video, but that was a while ago now, so I'll just repeat it again. I think when that trade happened, a lot of people were determined to hate it no matter what. It's hard to rewire your brain, man. Like, Leaf fans have been programmed to hate Thomas Plekanec for like a decade and a half. And he had a roughish first game, but that game ended up being the first game of a 4-game losing streak, and everyone just decided to get angry at him. And like, what an impossible situation. He was brought in to replace Dominic Moore. And in his first 4 games as a Leaf, they're like, okay, you're Austin Matthews now. Yeah, and they struggled. Weird. Those losses didn't prove that he sucked in the same way that this win doesn't prove that he's great. How scared were you when the Pen scored 2 goals? Very. If the ref calls that elbowing instead of goaltender interference, are any of us talking about this? Isn't this a penalty situation and not a goal versus no goal situation? First of all, we are hockey fans. We will find a reason to complain about anything. But what I keep going back to is goaltender interference as a thing is reviewable. Goaltender interference as a penalty, which is actually the same act, isn't reviewable. That's a little kooky, no? And it's funny because you can't review penalties, except last year someone did. It was either Polak or Hunwick, I can't remember. They got called for a high stick that made 0 contact with the player. The ref saw a review on the screen or something, which you're not even allowed to do, and they called the penalty back. Now they ended up getting the call right, but you can't do that. But they did. It all goes back to just make everything consistent. We'll end on this one. Why is being a Penguins fan so hard? They just had a 3-game win streak snapped. Oh no! I hope it doesn't interfere with their bid to win their 3rd straight Stanley Cup. Oh my heavens! Being a Penguins fan is impossible! Penguins fans' complaints are like, oh man, I got this 500-word thing due tomorrow. When the next day you have 4 3,000-word essays due, 2 exams, and open heart surgery, and you just want to kick him in the pants, but you can't decide back or front. I just look at the Penguins' problems like how I watched Downton Abbey with my wife. Half the show is just rich people draped over expensive furniture and weeping, and I'm like, you're in a castle! I should probably end the video here, I think. So that is it for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Click like if you liked this video. Click subscribe if you really liked it. Tell all your friends. I got a link down below in the description that'll take you to my merch, and it's wonderful, and you should get it, and I'm sorry to make you do all that work, and life is so hard!